It's Danielle here from East Hands Youth Links, and today we are going to create an illustration, acrylic painting of a flamingo. So I just have a reference photo here of a flamingo. So we're going to sketch it out. So we're going to break it down into some shapes. So if we break it down into shapes, we can see that we have a circular body with a triangle tail. He's got this swooping neck, like a backwards S, circle head, triangle beak with some nice long legs into the sand. So we're going to draw this out together. So the first shape I'm going to draw is the flamingo's body. So I'm just going to go to the center of my page here and draw an oval. Okay, and I want to make sure I have enough room for his legs and his head. Okay, so I have this oval body, and then from that oval I'm going to come out and I'm going to do a triangle, another triangle, kind of crisscross, so that he has two little feathers. So it's a triangle out to an oval shaped body. Okay, now this triangle right here, I have a triangle on top and one underneath, this one on top. I'm going to follow that triangle and go up, curve, so it separates that circle. So I have a curve and a curve, so this wing here is kind of all attached. Okay, so one big oval, so it looks like another oval on the inside, and that oval is attached to a triangle, and this big oval is attached to a triangle. Okay, now from that we're going to do his neck. So from down here I'm going to start, I'm going to go up and out, like a backwards S. Okay, so this is his neck. Let's go up and out, and on the end of this S we're going to draw a circle for his head, and then his pelican beak, or his flamingo beak I should say, which is kind of like a hook. Okay, now his neck is at one line, so let's thicken it up from the circle. We're going to come out and down. Okay, so we have his head, body, tail. So now we need those long legs. So one leg we're going to do straight down. So we'll do that one first. So right underneath the wing here, I'm going to almost just do a little round shaped oval. And from that, I'm going to come down to where I want his leg to stop. And he's got webbed feet, so I'm just going to put a little triangle at the bottom. Okay. And again, that leg is not one skinny straight line. In the center, I'm just going to mark where his joint is and double it up. So I have a leg. Now, his other leg I want to crisscross, make it look like a triangle. So it's going to come out in front, over, like a V, out, in. And from that, we're going to put his little triangle foot pointing down. So right now we have our basic shapes drawn in for our flamingo. So what I'm going to do with this flamingo, just so you can see, he has a little white patch on his eye, so I'm going to just kind of block off where that is. It's almost like a triangle right on the side of his head. His eye is going to be right in the center of that there. And there's a line to split his beak in half, and his tip of his beak, this will be black. Okay, just so you can see where those shapes are. So right now I have the basic shapes of my flamingo, but I also want to block off. I'm going to put this guy on the beach. So I'm going to put my horizon line in. I'm going to say that my sky is going to stop right about here. And this is where my ocean's going to be. And then ocean to some sand. So I'm just going to put another line just to imagine. So it's going to go ocean, sky, ocean to sand. Okay. And I have my flamingo all ready to go. So let's start to paint. I'm going to start in my background. So for my background, I am going to use, I have here just an ultramarine blue. And I'm going to use some white. Okay. And I'm also going to use some of my Viridian hue here, which is like a greeny color. Not a lot, just the tiniest little dab I'm putting on my palette. I'm also going to add a little cobalt blue, which is like a lighter blue. So we have a Viridian, cobalt, Viridian hue green, ultramarine blue, cobalt, and white. Okay. I'm going to start with a larger brush, and I'm going to start at the top of my canvas. So I'm going to use, first I'm going to use my cobalt blue, and I'm going to brush back and forth here, just at the top with my cobalt blue. I'm just going to blend it in. Okay, and it's damp, so I only put a little blue, and then I'm going to start dipping right in my white, and I'm going to go over it. So I want a nice light sky. I'm going right over top of that blue, and then I'm bringing it down. Again, you want to get a little darker blue up top, bring it down. Darker blue at the top. This is my cobalt blue, bring it down. Okay. And I'm going right over to my edges of my canvas here. Okay, so I have a nice cobalt blue across the top. I'm just gonna wipe my brush here, wash it, wipe it off in my rag, and then I'm gonna grab flat white. And I'm gonna start right at my horizon line. I'm gonna go around my flamingo the best I can. I'm not gonna worry about getting a little paint on them. And I'm gonna bring that white up. And I'm bringing that white right up into my blue. Up into my blue. Back and forth. Right up the top, and then I'm going to come right back down so it blends and I get this nice gradation of color. So go to the top and bring that blue right down. Don't worry if you bump into your flamingo. You can still see my sketch underneath. Up and then down. So I have some of this little Viridian green here, and I'm going to grab a little bit of it, and I'm just going to go across my horizon line with it. Okay, and I'm going to wash my brush. And then over that Viridian green, I'm going to grab some of this darker blue, this ultramarine blue, and I'm going to go right over top of that Viridian green. Okay. I'm just going to bring it down. So again, it was ultramarine with a Viridian green line and the ultramarine blue right over top. And then I'm just going to kind of bring it down a little bit here. Just a little bit, going around my flamingo the best I can. Then I'm going to grab some of that cobalt blue, the blue I used in my sky. A little bit of cobalt blue on the end. Okay. And I'm just doing little flicks, almost like waves right now. I'm not worried about it being fully colored in. I'm not all the way down to my water line yet. Little flicks right down. And then I'm going to grab right into my white. I'm going to start right where my water line is. And I'm going to come up. And then back down. Okay. So white at the bottom on my water line. You might need to go around your flamingo a little bit. Don't worry about bumping into him. White. White right at the bottom, and you're blending up into your blues. bring it back down a little bit. White. Right. Now, if you lose some of that dark blue, I'm just going to grab a little bit of that dark ultramarine blue, just a couple little flicks in the back. Notice I'm using the tip of my square brush back and forth, just to make it look like I got some darker waves back there. Same thing with that pretty green. Ultramarine blue over top, water line right across the top. Sometimes if you can't get that straight line, I like to turn my canvas this way. I want to get my sand in. So I'm going to use this yellow ochre. And with that yellow ochre, I'm just going to grab a little bit here, just a little white, okay, my sand color. And I'm also going to use just a little bit of my raw umber, or just a little bit of brown. I don't want a lot. I'm just going to grab a little bit of the tip of it, just to get a little bit darker. See how? And across the bottom. Is it this creamy sand color? Again, it's a little yellow ochre, tiniest little bit of the raw umber, and white. Okay. And I'm working quick, and I'm taking big strokes all the way across my canvas. I'm not going up and down. I want nice, big, long strokes. To make something look like it's going side to side, you brush side to side. Okay. Now I'm going to keep on grabbing, and I'm just going to grab flat white into this sandy color, and I'm going to pull it up into the water. Okay. Right across. You will see those legs underneath, so don't worry if you go over top of them. Flat white again, bring it right up to the edge of the water there. It's just lightly blending right into the water. Okay. Pretty basic background, sky, ocean, sand. Just nice and flat is our background. We didn't want a whole lot of detail. So I have my background nice and dry. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and put the darker areas in my flamingo. So I'm going to use a mix of red, white, and this hot pink color. So I'm going to use this red to go into the darker shadow areas of the feathers, so that the hot pink is highlighted a little bit more. So I'm going to use my detail brush, because I'm going to start down here in his little legs, because I want to have some nice shadow in there. And I'm just going to use my detail brush here with some of the flat red. And I dipped my little detail brush in my water a little bit, and I wipe it on the side so it's not dripping, but it does make the paint move a little bit smoother if your brush is a little bit damper. So I'm just going to go in, I'm going to put a little crease in the middle of his foot there. I'm not going to worry about painting the whole thing. Notice how I put kind of outline where the webs of his foot would be. And I'm gonna go up his leg. I'm not worrying about filling in the whole thing. So kind of giving a little bit. Just some red in the leg, okay? And again, I'm not filling in the whole leg with red. Just kind of doing a little bit of a shadow line on the outside, a little bit on one side, and kind of showing a little bit of the web foot. Almost like a little bit of an outline, but not a full outline of his body legs, okay? And I'm using my red to do that. So again, I didn't fully fill in his legs, kind of just gave it a little bit of an outline. I'm going to do this a little bit darker here because it's kind of shadowed under his tail. And then I'm going to go up into his feathers a little, and I'm not going to highlight a lot here, but I am going to just kind of paint in a little bit of the shadow of the feather. So as you can imagine, there's feathers coming down this guy's back. So I'm just kind of brushing some red lines to follow down his back here. Again, I'm not painting him all in red because I want my flamingo to be pink, not red. Okay. A little in his neck right here. And again, I am not filling him in solid red. I'm just kind of highlighting some spots around that white part of his face. That's about all I'm going to do with my red. Now I'm going to go in with my small detail brush, and I'm just going to grab this hot pink. You know, same thing. I'm going to start down at the feet. I'm going to fill in a little pink. His leg a little bit. And again, I'm not filling in the bird with the pink. Now his neck and his head are a little bit darker pink than his wings. It's kind of a reddish pink. So I'm just going to mix a little of this hot pink in my red to get another shade of pink. I'm almost gonna fill in his neck here with that color. I'm going to do the top of his beak here. Alright, so I washed my brush and then I'm going to grab a different brush here. I'm just going to go straight to my white. I'm going to get my white here. I'm going to go in and fill in this section here of his face that I want to stay white. Okay. And then I'm going to go down to his feathers. So we're going to do a little blending here. I'm going to flick right from the top, a little of the pink, just so we can get his feathers. And some of your pink and white are going to blend, and that's what I want to see happen here. But I'm flicking down his back because I want those feathers to look nice and fluffy. Again, I'm just using some flat white right now. Okay. These are still a little damp. I'm going to go in with some white and pink here. And I'm going to finish filling in the areas of the foot and the leg, the lighter pink. The top of his leg there. Okay. I notice here that I'm missing a little bit of my water in the background there, so that's pretty easy. I'm just going to grab a little of this blue, paintbrush, a little white, just fill that area in. Simple as that. There. Perfect. Just blend it out. I want to put a little bit more detail in the wings. So I have some nice white highlights there. So I'm going to put some darker highlights in. I'm just going to give it a quick little dry for a sec. So I'm going to go in and put some more pink, darker shadows in the wing. push them in, following the curve of his back here. Okay, wash it out. I want it nice and dry because I want to put some bright white highlights in. It's nice and dry so I can get those whiter. If I would paint the white highlights as the wings on top of the wet pink, it would just blend. So I'm just lightly adding some texture. Okay. Wash your brush. Now I want to have the tip of his beak black, so I'm just going to get a little black here. And the tip of his beak goes up. We do a little line up. I'm going to put a little eye in here. So I'm just putting a little dot for now. For his eye. Can put a little ring around it. It's looking pretty cute. Now you can always go back with your pinks and your reds. I'm just going to give his neck a little bit more texture, a little more paint. Okay. On his feet. Just going to mix a little tiny bit of black with red. Go into his feet here. Just so you can see the web of his feet a little bit better. Just want to put a little bit of a wave. I'm just going to get my brush here. I'm going to get damp with a little bit of this black. So you can see here I'm not using a lot, and a little of this phthalo green. Okay, and I'm just gonna go along the edge here. Notice how my brush is damp with water. Okay, so it's light green color. And then I'm just going to take my brush and I'm going to brush it up so that it's softer. I'm blending it up into the water. Okay. A little highlighted green. And on top of that, I'm going to take some flat white and I'm just going to dab. Just to give a little seafoam look along the edge of this wave. Now, you can always make another little wave, same way, a little bit of that phthalo green and black, damp on your brush. A little phthalo green, a little black, really damp. Look, there's barely any paint on my brush. It's kind of a wet wash. I'm gonna add another little wave, just a little one here. It crosses into the other. You see that? And I'm just going to take my brush, it's just damp now, blending it up. Blending it up, okay. And then I'm going to dry my brush, nice clean dry brush, a little white. And I'm just going to dab. I'm not going to paint, I'm just going to dab. Notice how a little bit of the green or the phthalo green showing through. And I'm just going to dab along that water line to give a little wave. Okay. Cool, right? You can add as many waves as you want. You can bring it back even further to add in waves. Just looks like some wet sand. I think I'm going to add, maybe I'll add one more here. To show it again. A little green, a little back, wet. Do one here. Look at that greeny black color. And then damp brush. I'm just going to brush it back. Brush it in. Right over the sand. It's like a little wet wash is what it's called. Along the ocean foam line. Dabbing with your white. Give it a little bit of fuzzy foam on the sand. Okay. You can take a little of your white here too. A little couple little flicks. That look like some little ripples in the water. There's just a little white on my brush. And some finishing touches. So a nice little foamy water coming in. So again, I'm just going to use a little bit of white here. Right? But under my cloud, I want to have a shadow. So I'm going to use some of this phthalo blue here. Just because we have it down here in our water, I'm going to bring some up in our sky. So, same thing, nice and wet. We're going to do like a wet wash cloud. So I'm just going to put a little cloud here. I'm going to do a line. Just a little dab up. I'll do another cloud right here. A line. Just kind of dab up. And it's a little bit of a wet wash. You see that? Maybe with another little guy right there. All right. Now, wash your brush, and then I'm going to do a wet wash of white. Okay, not a lot of paint on my brush. It's kind of damp water, not really paint. Okay, and then I'm going to come to that cloud again. I'm just going to dab. I'll leave some of that blue underneath because I want to have a little bit of shadow on that cloud. Okay. Alright. Again, you can go in and put as many little details in your illustration as you like, but for the most part, I am pretty happy with this flamingo hanging out at the beach. So I'm just gonna, like I said, just add a couple little finishing touches to finish it off here. And you do the same. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial.